Hello everybody and welcome. It's Juliet here, and today we're going to be making this earring, which I am absolutely in love with. I think it's so gorgeous, and it was actually quite difficult for me to design, and I'm really pleased with how it ended up coming out. So anyway, hopefully you like it. And as you can see here, the little fringe bits do flip around, so there is an option to put a stone on the back of them as well, so that if they flip, they it won't matter as you're wearing them and they're dangling. I didn't do that. I didn't really know what I was doing when I started. So I've already made two of the others, so I'm just gonna go without that, but if you want to, I'll show you how to do that. So this earring is made using some supplies from Beebeecraft, and I will put links for everything that I'm showing you in this video down below that I can find on Beebeecraft. But the earring tops, these little 4mm sort of montees, came in a set of 3 different sized ones from Beebeecraft, and I got those ones if you watched the Galaxy earrings, Galaxy, or back when I did the kind of outer space theme with Beebeecraft, that's where those came from. Everything else was from my most recent unboxing. So these earrings, these oblong shapes, these little round discs, and then I also have here some apatite. So these are 3mm rounds. They're faceted, which is why they're really sparkly. And these are also apatite, and these are 4mm, but they're more kind of flat. So with the 4mm ones, you get, they're on a string, but you just get the one strand. But with the 3mm, I got 5 really, really long strands. So that was a really good deal. Then I also have some jump rings, some 4mm and 3mm jump rings, and some 2.5mm chain that I cut in little sections off to hang the earring. And then obviously the jump rings, you can see them here also hanging, and one at the top up here. And then I used the small 3mm jump rings at the very bottom. Oh, you can see why I recommend adding the stone onto both sides. But I think it came out really, really nice. I'm really pleased with this earring. So first thing we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to put the flat 4mm stone onto the front of your piece. Now, you'll notice that it does have a hole for hanging at the top and the bottom, and there are 8 petals. So what I did was I used these 2 petals, not the 2 where the holes are, but the 2 side petals, and there's no front or back to these. So I just came up through one of the side petals, and I'm just using some gold colored beading thread for this. Whatever your favorite beading thread is, you can use that. So you might want to use Miyuki or like OneG, or any of the beading threads really will be fine, okay? And then you just pick up your 4mm stone. Trying to find the hole on one of them. There we go. So these ones are the flat ones. See how they're kind of more flat? And then I just go straight into the petal opposite where my thread is. Okay. Now, if you wanted to put a second stone on the back, which I'm not going to because I didn't do it on any of my other ones, you could string it on now and then tie your knot, okay? But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to tie a knot. So all I did was tied a square knot with my tail and my working thread, and then so I'm just doing half hitches, right over left, left over right, and I did one more. Okay, and once I have that, make sure that's pulled nice and tight. I pull my 2 threads out because this is actually a little bit tricky right here. Okay, pull your 2 threads out together and cut it with your scissors. And then if you have a thread burner, I recommend burning down the excess thread. I just got a new one for Christmas. Yay, because my old one broke. So I will just quickly burn down those ends, and that way you won't have to worry about those. Okay, so now my stone is attached onto the front, and I've already done 2 other ones, as you can see here, ready to go. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to cut our chain. So on the 2 short bits, it's 3 links, just literally 3 links, and then 2 jump rings. And this one is 7 links. Okay, so get your cutters, and you're just going to count 1, 2, 3 and cut the 4th link. Okay, it's that easy. This is probably the easiest step of the whole project. So 1, 2, 3 and cut. And then now I need to do my 7. Whenever you're cutting chain, if you want the chain to be in the same direction, you're always going to count odd numbers. Like if you want it flat, and then so it's always going to be an odd number. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and let's cut on 8. Okay. And then I am going to use my 3mm jump rings, which are really small. And I'm going to attach them onto that hole that I showed you at the beginning right here that's on the flower, and then onto each little bit of chain, and that way they'll be ready to use later on. So I'm just gonna twist it open. I like to do the chain first. For this, it doesn't matter. It does matter when you're attaching it onto your piece, though. It's going to matter then. And then twist it closed. And with these teeny tiny jump rings, you really need to use, like, get in there with your needle nose pliers, because it's such a small little. And just give it a little wiggle. Make sure that you can't see any kind of opening, and it's completely like smooth shut. Okay, so you can't really see my opening at all. Okay, so I'm going to do the other 2. You get the idea, and then I'll come back and we'll start working on this section. Okay, so I now have my 3 little bits on chain. I have finished now with my flat apatite, so I can put that off to the side. And I've also just kind of moved all the extra things off to the side for now so that they aren't in the way. Okay, These do come, by the way, with the earring backs, which is very nice, these earrings. And you'll notice they tend to be open this way. So instead of like twisting closed, you have to kind of roll them closed, I've found. And I like to do that like before I start even. I just get in there with a needle nose and I just roll it closed. So I don't know why they pull them open instead of twisting them, but that's just how they come, I find. So anyway, okay. So I got a nice kind of 4-foot piece of thread. I always underestimate how much I need when I'm brick stitching. Okay, so we will be brick stitching. So these, I'll put a link for these down below. They're from Beebeecraft. You get a whole big box full of them. And I do have a discount code, by the way, which is Jules10. And if you use that code, if you go to Beebeecraft, you'll get 10% off your whole order, okay? All right, so to begin, you're going to pass through your shape, and you don't need to leave a very long tail at all for this. You're just going to tie a knot. So again, I'm just going to tie a square knot, and after saying I don't need to leave a long tail, it's ended up being a long tail. So okay, well, I guess it makes it easier to hold on to. Okay, I'll hold that off to the side. All right, so here I am, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up one of my montees. And these montees are, they are not the flat one, the really flat ones. You can see here they're like this. They're the kind of more raised up ones, okay? And they have holes going through the way my needle's going, and also this way as well, okay? And I'm just going to sew over to the other side from where my thread is. And this is going to be the back. So I'm going to face my montee downwards, and then I'm going to come back through the montee. And I want it to sit, you'll see my, okay, I want it to sit like this, okay? So once you've got your montee on, you're going to pick up 2 11-0s, and these are just Miyuki silver lined 11-0s. Number 1 is the color number. Okay, so I'm picking up 2. I'm going under the metal bar, okay, and then I'm going back up the second seed bead that is closest to where I went down. So if I went down and under the bar, coming straight back up the same seed bead, okay? And then I'm going to pick up another one. I'm going to go under the bar. I'm just kind of pressing with my finger up against it, and then I'm going back. So there's the thread going under the bar right here. I'm going straight back up through that same seed bead, and then I'm coming out on the top, okay? I'm just going to repeat this until I have 6. So just press your finger up against that seed bead. Go ahead and come back up through it. Okay, last one here. Okay, So I now have 6, and don't worry if your montee is like flipping around a little bit. That's kind of normal at this point. It doesn't matter. We'll sort that out in a minute. So what you want is you want these 6 to kind of be centered on the end, and this very first one is not going to sit properly because he's not really attached. He's only attached to the montee, so he's not going to sit flat yet. Okay. Then we're going to continue on. So we're going to this time pick up one of our 3mm gemstones. So our Apatite Gemstone. And then we're going to do the same thing, just go straight back up through the hole. It can be a little bit hard to find the hole on these, I find, because they're so small. And do be careful with the gemstones. I accidentally popped one earlier by trying to force through too many times. So this is really the only time we're going to go through them now, is at the beginning. Sorry, it's like one, down and back, and that's it. The rest of the time, don't enter into your gemstones just in case. Either that or downsize your needle, okay? I'm using a size 10. So once you've got that, and there will be a bit of thread showing on the top, that's normal for brick stitch. And then we're going to pick up an 11-0. And just kind of budget up as well as you can. And like I said, there's going to be extra thread here, which we'll use in a minute. Then you're going to pick up, another of the gemstones. So we're going to have 3 gemstones across the top and 3 gemstones across the bottom. And the rest is going to be 11-0 seed beads, okay? All right. So in between each of the 3 gemstones at the top, you're adding 1 seed bead, and it's just the same process, still brick stitching at this point. It gets a little bit complicated when we have to add the middle section beads, okay? So like this, we've added 1 already, but okay. Okay, so I added my 3rd gemstone, and I have my seed beads in between. I'm going to add 1 more seed bead. And another. So remember, on the ends we have 6, but right now we're only going to do 2. And then we're going to add our another of our rhinestone montees. So go ahead, go down, back down. You're coming out the 2nd seed bead. You're going to go back down through the first one that's next to the gemstone, okay? You're going to again pick up your montee. You're going to go under the metal on the other side, okay? And then come back, or you can go over and then come back under, but I think it's easier to go under first and come back over. And the thread might not want to stay in place right now, but it will once we get the rest of our seed beads in place. Okay, so that's kind of attached on, not, too great, but it is kind of there, okay? So now we're going to go up that first seed bead that is on the other side that we started on. we're going to do another brick stitch under. So go down your seed bead, go underneath your form, okay, and then go back up through that seed bead, okay. So you should now be coming out from the second bead, and then we're going to continue on just like we were, brick stitch 4 more seed beads. Sorry, brick stitch 2 more seed beads. So we now have 4, okay? So now you're going to go back down the third seed bead on the end, okay? So I'm coming out from the third. I'm going to pass through the montee the other way, okay? So this direction. So I'm going down this, and you don't want to pull too tight because you don't want to mess that up right there, okay? You're going to pick up 3 of your 15 O's, okay? So I'm just using some Miyuki Gold 15 O's. They are number 1052, okay? You're going to pick up your third montee, and again, it doesn't really matter which direction because it's a square, so you're going to pick up 3 more of your 15 O's. Okay, so I've got 3, my montee, 3, and then I'm going to sew and make sure that both of them are facing downwards at this point because you won't be able to turn them around, okay? You're going to sew through your montee, okay, and it doesn't matter, the middle one can flip around, but you want both the end ones at least to be facing in the same direction. Oh, that's funny, look, that one has a hole and that one doesn't. Interesting. Looks the same on the front, so I'm not going to worry about it. Okay, so we came out on this side. Remember, we came out from this third seed bead, okay? So we're going to go into the 1, 2, 3rd seed bead on this side, okay? And then you're going to go down the 4th seed bead on this side. And then we're going to go all the way back through all of the montees and the 15 O's. Okay. And don't pull so tight that it messes up your end. All we're trying to do here is make sure that things stay the correct direction, okay? Okay, so before you continue on, just make sure that you haven't pulled anything too tight so that it's got warped, okay? So coming out from the bead here, we're just going to go straight up into the 4th bead because remember we started in the 3rd bead, so now we're going up into that 4th bead, and then we can bead our next 2 11 O's, okay? So just continue on with your brick stitch. Okay, so you should now have 6, and then we're just going to do exactly the same. So we're going to add 1, 1, 1, and go down. And don't worry, we'll come back to this guy in a minute. Okay, so you're just going to do your gemstone, CB, gemstone, CB, gemstone, and then you will be back over here. Okay, so I'll do that off camera really quickly. Okay, so I just came out of my third gemstone here, and what I've done is, because this is the thread that I knotted at the beginning, I've pulled it towards me because I'm on the back right now, okay? And I need to now attach this very first 11-0, so I'm just going to go straight down it, and I'm going to do another brick stitch around okay. So here I am now coming out from this 11-0, and now I'm going to flip it over to the front just because I like to kind of look at the front when I'm working. I find it's, you know, a little bit better. I might need to tighten this up. It looks a little loose, but we'll see how this goes. Okay. Okay. So coming out from this 15-0 right here. Okay. Sorry, 11-0. We're going to pick up a 15-0. You're finished with your 11-0s now, by the way. You can, I'm going to move those out of my way. And I'm sorry if the lighting looks different. I had to turn on the light because it's so dark. It's raining today, which is very strange for Southern California. Okay, so you're going to pick up 2 of your, just like when we start, anytime we start brick stitch, you're going to pick up 2 15-0s, okay? And you're just going to go under the thread that is attached onto that gemstone. Remember, I told you we were going to be using this thread, and this is us using it now. Okay, so now you're going to go back up through that very first 15-0 that you just came out of, okay? And you're just going to carry on around, okay, till you get to here. Sorry, carry on all the way around till you get back to here, and then we're going to move forward, and then we're going to go through these beads in order to attach this in place, okay? So what we want is we want the entire outside to have a gold brick stitch, and what you're doing is you're sewing onto the thread that goes around. Now I kind of did like 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it kind of worked out to be like 3. There's no right or wrong, and nobody's going to sit there and count how many 15-0s are on your earrings. So don't worry too much. You kind of only have so much space anyway. So it's going to end up working out to look good. Okay. And when you're down in these valleys as well, you know, it kind of like one of them will kind of fill the valley, and then when you move over to the next hump, that's why I'm saying I usually do like 2 on one side of the bead and 1 on the other side, and that seems to work out pretty well when I'm going over these bumpy areas. And then here I just did, I don't know, like 9 I think, or something like that. I definitely had 1 in between the end here, which you're going to want on each end because you're going to be attaching a jump ring around that. So make sure at these ends you have 1 between the 3rd and the 4th seed bead. Okay, you're going to want 1 right here and 1 right here because that's what you're going to be attaching around. Okay, so don't stress out about it, don't overthink it, just carry on and brick stitch around. Okay, so you can see I have stitched all the way around. And I have one space left for one more seed bead. So I'm just gonna stitch that on. And then once you have done your last one, you're going to go down the very first 15-0 and you're going to stitch that one on again. So go under your thread, which I just did, and then back up through that bead. Okay, now we're just going to go down and up through the beads until we get over to the middle gemstone. So just take your time here. Again, you don't want to accidentally pop a bead or anything at this point, because that would be really sad. So, you know, however many it takes you to travel over, your count may be different than mine. And when you get there, whichever one you go down through that's closest to the top of that gemstone, okay, then you're going to very carefully go down through the gemstone, and you want to come out on the back of your piece. Okay, and then we're going to sew through the middle, and that's going to stop this from spinning at last. You're thinking, thank goodness. And then you're going to go up through the gemstone on the other side, again being very, very careful. You do not want to break your gemstone at this point, because I've done it and it was really sad. Okay, there we are. So now your piece is finished, this section. So we just need to tie off our ends, and I'm coming out through the gemstone. I am just going to come up through this gold bead, and then I'm going to go down the next gold bead and through the next 11-0. I'm going to go under. And then I'm going to come back up through that 11-0 and the 15-0. And I don't like to tie knots, so probably what I will do here is just cut it off. I feel like knots are very, very obvious, and I've never had brick stitch like pull apart, so I am just going to cut that off. Okay, and with this other thread, we already have a knot, so I'm just going to sew away from the knot and then cut that off. I'll do that off screen. Okay, so once you've cut your threads off, if you need to, you can kind of slide your design a little bit, you know, up and down by pulling up and down on either side if it's not quite centered, okay? But mine looks pretty good, so I am happy with that. So now we're going to attach on these and this and our earring wire at our earring finding at the top. So the easiest way I have found to do it is to actually insert the jump ring into the piece first, because that's the hardest bit to do. So I like to make sure that my jump ring is going to close and line up and everything before I even start, okay? So just make sure that that jump ring is able to close properly, doesn't have any super sharp bits poking out, etc. Twist it open, okay? So for the top, you're going to go between, so you have 6 of your seed beads at the top, so you're going to go between the 3rd and the 4th seed bead. And this is really, you kind of have to gently force it because there's not a lot of space, okay? So just kind of take your time, get that jump ring in there. Okay. And then you can see where the front is, make sure that the front matches to the front. Pop your earring on there, and then I can twist that closed. Okay, so there is my earring wire is now attached at the top. So now we're going to attach the bottom sections, and again, I highly recommend that you do the jump rings first and then attach on the chain once you've got the jump ring through the brick stitch area. Okay, and you should be going, when you're going between the 11 O's seed beads, so you're going underneath the 15 O's, okay, is where you're going. All right, so twist that open, and I find the hardest one to get in is these top and bottom ones, so I like to do those first, just to make sure that I have enough wiggle room with them. Oh, okay, that one pinged off somewhere. This takes quite a bit of patience to do this, I find. I'm just going to attach one, and then I'll assume that you guys can attach the other two. I'll show you where to attach them on, though. Okay, so, and it can be difficult if your plier is in the way, trying to hold the jump ring. Okay, I want it to go in here. And again, you'll have to figure out, okay, so where's my front? So there is my front. That's the back. So that's the front. And where is the front of this? So just let it drop. Okay, and when the chain stops wiggling, you can just slip it on. Okay, so front is here, front is here. So that is correct. And then I can close it up. And I'm really taking the time to make sure that that join is fully closed and flush, and it doesn't want to close. It's always when you're filming that you have the difficult ones. Okay, I think I've got it now. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so I've done my first drop on, okay. So my second drop and my third drop are going to attach in the gap right next to this. You're basically going to poke down right here next to this stone, and right here next to this stone is where you want your two jump rings to be. I'll show you on this one. See where it is? It's right next to the gemstone. Okay, all right, so I'm going to do the other two, and then I'll come back and show you the finished earrings. Okay, so I did lose two jump rings trying to do that, but I did it. So here is the other earring that we just made, And I just think they're so pretty. I just love how they came out. And they're actually quite long, and which is one thing I like about them, but they're also super, super lightweight. So that's also very nice. And I mean, to me, they just look fantastic. I mean, just really, really nice. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed watching that, and I hope you try these. And if you do go to Beebeecraft again, remember to use the discount code Jules10 up here at this top, okay? And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.